Today I'm going to be reviewing the Land Rover Explore Phone.
Maybe somewhere like here would be more suitable for doing a review of the Explore Phone. But then it would involve a lot of long pauses as I try and catch my breath, so maybe not.
Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with this is a phone which was recently released in the last sort of 3 months or so, and I've been trying it out on a variety of terrains. This review isn't going to go into the operating system and things like that. It's based on Android. There's a lot of other reviews and details about that, but if you've had an Android phone before, you'll probably know what to expect in terms of how it operates, how you can navigate around the various screens. What I'm going to focus on are some of the unique selling points which Land Rover have made about this phone, which makes it different from your standard smartphone. First up, durability. Land Rover have made a big play about how robust this phone is. I've had it for around 3 months, used it in a variety of terrains, and have to say that there hasn't been any issues. Been dropped, put in a bag, not used any casing apart from what it comes with, and it seems to work absolutely fine. It came with a screen protector. You might be able to see there's a small scrape on that, which is when it got rubbed against keys, but no impact on performance whatsoever. The other area where they talk about is how waterproof the phone is. Again, I've used it in all conditions from very heavy rain and not used any protection for it, and it's always worked absolutely fine even when wet. Operating the screen whilst wet, well, you know what? Let's try that out.
The one thing I will mention when I'm out here is the fact that one of the claims is that the screen works when it's wet. Well, today I'm having the opportunity to test that, and it is very much true. The quality of the control on the touchscreen is excellent, even with puddles of water on it. The only thing I would say is probably about 90-95% as good as when it's dry, so not exactly the same, but better than probably any other phone that I've used with a wet touchscreen, which is really good when you've got days like today.
Battery life, one of the main areas of conversation for smartphones. So Land Rover have said that this can last for longer than your typical smartphone as it has a larger battery. And from my experience, if you're using it, heavy usage, watching videos on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel, then it will probably get you through a day and a half before it needs to be charged. If you're just using it for minimal usage, have it in your pocket most of the time, using it for the odd email, phone call, then you'll probably get 2 days comfortably out of it. But realistically, if you're using it for a lot, when I've been traveling, sat in the airport, things like that, using it for a couple of hours, then it probably has to be charged at the end of the day. Now, one of the key differentiators is that the phone as standard also comes with this additional battery pack, which very neatly just clips onto the back and you're good to go. The other element of that is it also has a GPS unit, so it actually means that you've got a better GPS when you have this pack clipped on. Now, from my experience, adding on the battery pack gave me about an extra 16-17 hours of usage, and then you can just detach it once it's been completely discharged. Another plus point is that both the battery pack and the phone have charge points, so you can independently charge the battery pack. It doesn't need to be connected to the phone whilst charging, which is something which I thought was quite useful. Additionally, you then receive this case, which you can then attach once you've got the battery pack on. It just adds another layer of protection, and what also comes as standard is then the carabiner clip, which attaches at the back, so you can then connect that onto various items without any risk of the phone dropping out. And essentially this is then designed to be a GPS unit whilst you're out in the mountains doing whatever exploring you're doing, without the need for carrying an additional bit of kit. With the casing and additional battery pack on, you still have use of the camera, which is good. In terms of the quality, well, again, let's check that out.
Here's the camera that faces you. So it's quite early morning, so the sun's not fully up yet. Lots of shadows under trees. But good footage, I would say.
In terms of the photo camera, that's one area where I think it does let the phone down slightly. Compared to modern iPhones, Samsung Galaxy for example, they definitely have better cameras on them than is on here when you look at the picture quality. This is probably on a par with, say, an iPhone or a Samsung from a year or two ago, so that was slightly disappointing for a brand new phone. The other element which is key to point out is that when you have the battery pack on, you also have the improved GPS. Now what I did to try and test this out was to do a couple of cycle rides recording the data on the phone using the GPS additional battery pack for one, and then just a standard GPS which comes with the phone for the other cycle. And I also used my watch at 1 second interval recording as a sort of third GPS recording unit to see the difference between the two. Results you can see on screen. Now I don't know if there wasn't any variance in the results because of the tracking app that I was using, or whether the GPS unit has to be very, very specific. But from my experience, the GPS which comes on the phone is as good, if not better, than the standard GPS you get on any smartphone currently. If you're using it for, say, Google Maps for directions, it's not like the blue dot isn't where you actually are. So the additional benefit of the GPS tracker unit, I haven't seen any benefit of that. I haven't seen it improve, if that makes sense.
Currently at one of the passes in the Dolomites, and one of the things I want to highlight on the Land Rover Explore Phone is the fact that you can set different profiles and have different elements, little widgets on there showing you different things. So one of the ones I've set up shows the altitude, and there's quite a big disparity often between the barometric altitude and also the GPS altimeter. So currently, according to where I am, it's saying, depending on the it's either 2,117 meters or just over 2,100 meters. Currently, the barometric element is saying 2,158, so quite a significant amount more than the actual height. And the other one, the GPS altimeter, depending on that, it's varying between 2,100 and currently saying 0. So it's actually not picking up any GPS. I don't have the GPS unit, but it seems to be quite a delay on that.
So depending on what activities that you're doing, you can have a profile set up for each. So as a standard one, for me doing a lot of running and things like that, I have a profile set up which has elevation on there, it has time, compass, key things just set up as a profile, but you can tailor that screen to what you want to show, whether that be mountain biking, whether that be hiking, whatever activity it is, you can tailor the profiles and have multiple profiles, which I think is quite a nice feature, as it allows you to get the key information which you may want quickly and easily without having to press lots of buttons, especially if you're out in the wilderness exploring, as the name suggests. One thing I will flag is the weight of this phone. So this is an iPhone 7 with a case on it. That weighs around 150 grams. This comes in around 230 grams as standard without the battery pack on. So you can see the size difference of the phones in comparison. It's a slightly larger screen than the iPhone 7, but also a lot wider. By the time you then add on the battery pack, it increases the weight and the size of it even more. So that's something to be aware of. When I'm doing a lot of races, for example, I want to be as light as possible. So although the phone is only slightly heavier, you do definitely notice it a lot more, say if you've got it in a shoulder strap around your waist compared to a regular smartphone. So that's one thing to be aware of, the size and also the weight of it. Another area just to be aware of is this response time on the phone. Sometimes it can take a few seconds when typing into the search box, for example, for the words to appear that you've typed. So I've written 3 or 4 words searching for something in the Google on the front page, and then it will then actually populate a few seconds later. So it's not as fast as some of the other smartphones out there, which, depending on how fast you need that information, can be quite frustrating at times. Would this be the right phone for you? Well, I think it very much depends on how much of the explore type activities that you do, how often you're out in the mountains, kayaking, out on the bike, versus using your phone on the day-to-day. As I mentioned, In terms of the weight and the size of it, you definitely notice it more than regular smartphones. Also, the response time can be a bit of a frustration. And finally, the quality of the photos. More modern smartphones have better cameras than this. So it'd be a weighing that up versus the additional benefits such as the battery life, the use of the phone during the wet with the touchscreen still working to near full functionality, and also the fact that it is very robust, so you don't have to have additional packaging and casing to make sure that it doesn't get damaged and stays dry when out on your adventures. From my perspective, it is a really useful phone. A lot of my weekends are spent doing extreme things. I really like the battery pack when you're up for multiple days. I don't have to worry about carrying a third-party battery, plus the cable to plug into the phone, so I think that's one of the key features for me, is having that additional battery pack and giving that life. But as I said, you're going to really feel that if you've got that in your pocket walking down the high street. I hope you found this review useful. Have you used the Land Rover Explore Phone yourself? Please leave a comment down below, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please also subscribe to the channel if you want to see future reviews. I really appreciate all the support. That's now just confirmed the battery pack's been connected. So please do subscribe, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the Land Rover Explore Phone.